All right, since it is the second day of spring, yesterday I took it out. I didn't start it because the battery needed to be charged, so I charged the battery, and we should be good to go. I gave it a wash. So this is what it sounds like. Hold on, let me turn the key, and let me get over to it. There you go. First start of the year. All right. Now, okay, we're going to do an oil change on it. You see, I cleaned it. These things need to be cleaned, especially all up in here. When you go to pull them backwards, they'll stop moving backwards. Then you know you got to get in there and service it. The other way is when you first start to notice is you can't move this, the adjuster, and it gets real clogged. Now I turned the pressure down because it wasn't terrible. We're going to do an oil change. Everything else has been gone over. There's a baffle in here. This is the one with the bag to mulch baffle, and that's the other thing that gets pretty jammed up. So I'm going to give it another cleaning. But before I do, we're going to just take these 10 millimeter nuts off the top. It's got gas in it, so we're going to just peel it back, try not to spill anything. And then we're just going to quick hose up there. You can use the hose if you want, but since I have the pressure washer out, we're doing testing and cleaning today. And really, get as much junk out from in that area as possible. Don't worry about the water. It's not, you're not going to be doing this all the time, so it's not like water operation, Right, let me do that. I'll give you a peek in there and we'll see. There is a lot of junk in there. In that pocket it sits. And then this isn't too bad, but like I said, I turned the pressure down. That's why a hose is fine for this operation. And we're going to give it a quick spritz. And just to clear some more of the mung, put the top back on, and then I'll finish the wash on it. And a little bit later tomorrow, right, we'll do the oil change and I'll show you a few more things. Okay, I just blew out the air filter, but we'll change that in a little bit. Nice and clean, it's back together. Now, when I first started, it blew a little bit of smoke. That's because I'm turning it on its side and everything. Don't worry about that. All right, let's give it a start. Little choke. Uh-oh, we gotta charge that battery again. Probably because it's wet. All right, let's give it a start. Okay, the only thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave it out in the sun for the rest of the day while I'm working, just to let it dry, and then I'm going to bring it in, and I'm going to charge the battery with a better charger. I used the wall wart, and it worked the first time, but it's been sitting a while. We need to get a good charge on it. And then we'll bring it up on the table, warm up the engine one more time, and we'll change the oil, and I'll show you a few more things. So that'll probably be tomorrow or the next day. But this is at least the first step in just kind of refreshing, getting a bit of maintenance. All right, so I put on, this is a different charger. This is like your trickle charger, maintainer. This one actually does pretty good for a lot of the maintenance around here. I got it from my friend Liz. It just kind of came pro bono with a car I got from her. I just kind of rigged it up for now. It's been on for about 48 hours. Let's test it out, right? Let me put everything back, and I want to put this on my van for a little while. And then we'll throw it on that. Even though it's been charged, we'll just throw it on there because we're going to take off the big snow thrower because I didn't get to use it. So, well, in a way, it's good because here we are spring. It didn't really snow much. So I'll throw that on tomorrow. All right, we're all set. Now, Zippo had mentioned to me, maybe you want to look for some batteries replacements for the battery pack because that battery pack is old now, and it's been abused. And I said, yeah, I've been looking into that for quite a number of years, and they just keep getting, the batteries keep getting better. So that'll be another project for another day for sure. You know, I expect to get maybe another season out of it, hopefully. All right, full choke. Yeah, we're going to look into that. We're going to make our own battery replacement that fits in this box. Hey! Yeah, that started nice. Wow, she's running good. All right, we got to do an oil change. All right, I just sucked the gas out of it. I'm going to turn it on its side, this side. I'm going to let it drain. I'm getting tired. But I got a treat. What do you guys think? Right? I did this to the one that I sold, and I pulled this one off the Husqvarna that was spring cleanup. Oh, hold on. I dropped that and put that to the side. Just clean this out. It's just a nice, you know, black tank. I do have the top for it, but I don't know. I was pulling on it. It had a lot of gack in it, and this, yeah. So I'll deal with that later. At the very least, I'd like to get the tank off. It's easy, right? Just like we did earlier. We're just going to pull these 10 millimeters off and replace the tank. And don't forget, there's a little filter in here. Let me show you that filter. There's a little filter up in the tank, and I'll get you in close, all right, with the other camera. But just so you see, this is up in the hose, and I'll show you. You're going to want to clean the tank out every now and then. You need to clean the tank out, wash it out like I just did, a little super clean. If you haven't done it, or like forever, be a good idea, because I can almost guarantee you there's crap in there. And this is where the filter is. It goes up inside here. And again, like I said, we'll get another look at it. I washed it out nice. It's now drying. I rinsed it out also with a little bit of gasoline, and it'll be dry by tomorrow. And that way we know there's no dirt in the filter, there's no dirt in the tank, and there won't be any dirt in your carburetor causing problems. If you really wanted to, while you're here, don't forget the better models, right? You can peel out a little bit of liquid out. I think I'm going to do that before I turn it on its side. I'll show you that, and we'll just drizzle out what might be in there. It's probably nothing in this machine, but there's a little bowl drain, and we can just loosen it up and let whatever comes out come out. All right, I just loosened it. There it goes. Drip, drip, drip. There might be a little bit of junk in there. Hold on. This isn't really a clean top, but there should be like no fuel in here. There's some fuel, but I have the... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There's a lot more than I thought. That's it. It came out. I'll let it drip a little bit. Yeah, that's clean, fellas. Yeah, because I keep it clean. All right, let me put that back and dump the fuel. But if yours has any dirt, then that's how you know. All right, so now I can take the top off. If you want, you could close this, right, this line, but we're going to be reconnecting our new top in a minute. All right, there's the charging circuit setup that I put on there. Everything looks good. While I'm here, just because while I'm here, I'm going to pull the plug, take a look at it, and clean it. It's like so easy to do with the top off. All right, see how everything looks now? It's nice and washed. Remember, it's air cooled. It's air and oil cooled. Like the oil is part of what transfers the heat all around the motor and gets it to the outside of the motor, or the fins and everything, gets it gone. All right, so then we're just gonna remove, you see that there? I'm gonna put a little of my sweetener on it, right, and push that out of the way and push it off. You can use like WD-40 or something, but this is my tranny fluid mix. It just works so well to loosen that up and pull it off. I'm going to pull that off now, and then I'm going to check the plug and do a few other things, and then I'll turn it. I just blew it off, but it's clean, right? Because I've already been through this, but you know, just to make sure. All right, so I did start it the other day, you know, and it blew a little bit of smoke because the oil it was moved into the carburetor, into the combustion chamber, because it was turning it over. But there is some chocolatey goodness on it. Let me turn a little light on, maybe that'll help. I'm going to clean it. Yeah, there's some soot on it. I'm going to clean it, put a little bit more no seize on the threads. That's important. Remember, this goes into aluminum. Put it back in. Otherwise, it's a good shape. I like about 30 thousandths. Maybe a little bit more. You know, 32 max, right? Let me do that. I'll be back. Well, that's better. Right? And I got a little no seize on it. Yeah, that's much better. Like 30 thousandths. Stick it in. Just put a little lubricant on that. Slid it on. And I replaced these things. Like the Jesus clips. Because you're like, oh, Jesus, I can't get the damn thing off. Let's put a regular one on. Let's drop it down. I got to get the bushings that go up in here. All right, out of the red. Where are they? I think there's 2 in here. These bushings here. Don't lose those. All right, now here's a tip. Now this plug has a gasket on it. You can see that in that little close-up. So if you're putting a new plug in, right, you have to seat these plugs. They don't have flanges on them. They got a gasket. That gasket's got a seal. So I like to turn in by hand as far as I can go. I put a little bit of no seize on it. And then you have to seat it. Now this one's already been compressed. We're compressing the gasket, so holding everything parallel. That's why it's kind of nice to having the top off, right? Because you could get to everything. And then I'm just going to push forward. Now, if it feels like it's starting to strip, it's not. You're compressing the gasket. Go a little bit more. Be gentle with it. Like I said, this one's already been done. And then make sure you got a good clip sound when you put that spark plug boot on, right? Because you want that to grab good. Get it in there good and get that sort of snap sound. And just make sure everything in here is clean and we're good to go. All right. There's the air compressor again. Let me go find my my tank and we'll pop that on. All right, put the black top on. I think it looks cheesy with this red up here, but we're gonna wait because I gotta either go find one or I gotta fix the one that I have. But either way, I have this one and I have the other one. On the other machine that I did, it looked really cool, but again, it had the black top on. All right, what I want to do is put it on its side, pull the oil, let it drain overnight. Let's just take a look at underneath. This thing's heavy. Oh man, is it heavy. We have some work to do here. Should be able to see it. Tomorrow we'll pull this because these blades are getting beat. There's still some life left in it. I think we could do is this top blade. I may have another one, but I may want to just sharpen it because there's still a lot of sticks and debris on the lawn, and I think it would be good to just use it up for that. And then I'll also look to see what else I have. I have a different type. This is the fancier design, very heavy duty. It is very high lift, good for the bag, but I do have a different type, so we'll see. Maybe we'll put that on. We'll take a look at that tomorrow. All right, clean these up. What do you guys think? You know, they're beat up, but it was pretty rolled over, snub-nosed, and there was like I don't know, like wood and sticks sort of jammed in here. In between, probably throwing it off. But the order's still pretty messy, so I think it's a good opportunity. Just burn these up. This one's still got some meat left in it. Right, I have another version that's like straighter. Let's blammo it on. All right, I usually put a little bit of no seize on these, freshen them up, and we blammo those on. I did add a little lubrication in a few spots, nothing crazy. This is just maintenance. A little bit in here on the cables on the handle, a little bit here and here down in that bearing or bushing area, and then I'll flip it and before I put the oil in, and we'll get to the other side of that. Mostly just to sweeten these seals in there and sweeten things up. You don't want to overdo it, but I like to use the chain lube because the chain wax is probably good too because it's going to wax up, it's going to dry up. The lube won't dry as much, but it's not going to collect as much dirt. And I guess, maybe mid-season or so, I'll come back in here and probably chase out the blades. We'll see. Keep an eye on it. I'm just using up the last little bit of my chain lube in the old can. Got a little bit of lube there, a little bit of lube there, a little bit of lube down behind there just to freshen and sweeten the seal, a little bit on the spring. Also, you look at here, you're going to have to look in there. There are I believe there's 3 ball bearings, and the plate moves, and it engages this clutch. It's a really nice clutch. Make a really good mini bike clutch, or like maybe for a go-kart. But you want to make sure that's all kept clean, and then every now and then, it's a good idea to throw a little lube down in there and knock off any rust. You know, it'll attract a little bit of dirt, but you know, it's a battle, right? You're always, that's the idea, is to battle it back, right? Keep things going so they don't jam up, and just kind of foul everything from time to time. All right, I'll throw a little bit of lube in a few spots, and then we'll put oil in it. Lube it up. Both sides of these bearings, the chain lube, and then also the adjusters, and make sure these adjusters are moving good. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that one was really nice. Probably go up a, well, that should be good. We gotta do the backs. Now I already lubed them, but I gotta move them around. So I'm gonna spin this machine around the other way. You know, because when they start to get stuck, that's when you gotta bring it in and take everything apart and get all the gook out of it, because it'll be getting really difficult to move backwards. Yeah, that one's a little sweeter. That one's a little dry. It's not bad. Still moving. Okay, you can put a little bit more lube in that area and blow it too with some compressed air. Now I already washed it, but I tried to get in here as best I could, but you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. This time we'll put a little chain wax, and I'll show you. We'll come back in and I'll show you where, and we'll put a little here. Yeah, you want to be in this area there where that adjuster is. You could use a little dry lube, but don't use too much of that. It'll dry up. It'll ghoul up. I think you might see it over here. It's a little different on this side, a little darker. All right, and the last thing I'm going to do, now I probably should have washed this off, but what we are going to do is just wipe it and blow it, and then I'm going to spray some chain lube in it. It's already been greased. I did all that last time, but you can see why I like grease, because it works better. It just does. I've tried everything else. So I'm going to do that. I'll bring it back, and I'll put a little chain lube on and just put it back, right? It's going to be good for at least another season, because it got through last season and there's no problems that I can see. All right, so in the back here, I just want to be clear. I'll leave a link in the description for the video on what I did in order to get this whole mechanism, this rear drive system, and the adjusters working again when they stop working, when you can't pull it backwards, when you can't adjust the adjusters. I've been talking about this a little bit throughout the video. I could have washed in here with some pressure washer and a little bit of, super clean or something, but then you have water infiltration, and at that point you might as well do the full cleaning thing that I show in another video. So this is maintenance cleaning. So if you already have a working machine and you don't have to fix it, right, and you want to keep it going, that's what I'm showing here. I also show putting a little bit of spray lube in these bearings. These are actual bearings, and there's an inner sleeve and the bearing, rollers, and then an outer sleeve. And you can use oil, chain lube, and then I finished up with a bit of chain wax back here. I spray everything down with chain wax. I also go both sides of the wheel and turn it a little bit, kind of move it around so it penetrates in. And again, that's a maintenance thing. And you'll hear there'll be dirt in there, and at some point either you can replace the bearings. They actually sell them. They sell new wheels. You can soak the bearings in a bit of kerosene or diesel or gasoline or some kind of solvent. You can get all the gook out. You can put chain lubes and white greases and whatever in there, and continue servicing the bearing, right? If they stay fairly oiled and greased or whatever, even with dirt on them, they'll continue to offer very good service life. Probably up until the point where the wheels will always be rolling good, and you'll wear out the tread on the wheels, and then you'll say, all right, time for new. So that's an option. I got the chain lube and the chain wax in behind and everything, so we don't need to grease again. And I've heard a lot of people say, don't use grease. All right, look, I've tried everything, okay? I'm going to stand here on authority and make the statement. Look at what grease does. You can you can think about it all you want, but you can actually go online, and there's technical data on what grease is used for. And one of the things that grease is used for in a bearing situation is it's able to suspend dirt for a time and keep it somewhat suspended and away from the metal surfaces that are rolling or running. Bushings, bearings. Dry lube can't do that. Dry lube, the dry lube will stop it because when you put the grease in, it's going to attract all the dirt. And look, the dirt is going to get in there no matter what. End of story. I've tried it. I tried dry lubes, a couple of different dry lubes, and within a season, I already had a problem. The grease I put in behind the backing plate, I put it around everything. What the grease does is it seals it from the dirt from getting too deep. The dirt's going to get in. These are not hermetically sealed environments. And they exist in some of the worst environment. I mean, it's a machine who has the bulk of its major mechanisms sitting either in the dirt or 2 feet or 6 inches above it. Dirt, filth, whatever. So I find the grease allows me to do what I just did now, all right? It's been, I don't know, more than a year, whatever. It got a lot of heavy, dry, and gross and sandy. I live in sand, right? And then this year, all I had to do is just a quick rinse and a little lubrication and a little freshening and a little tune-up. That's what we're talking about here. So let me get to the next end of the segment. We'll get out of here in a bit, and we'll just finish up on this video with the last few things and a nice test. So that's why I say, if you guys want to know more about it, you can ask me, come and stop in one of my live shows or whatever, and say, hey, Arch, explain a little bit more about the grease, or I beg to differ, and we can have a nice argument. All right, I got to get out of here. All right, let's get all the goodness in there. So I'm going to use a 15W40. It's getting a little older, so we're going to go a little thicker. And this is summertime use. Then I also have, this is the Shell Rotella 5W40. And this is, I like this for winter or cooler months, or when an engine is still in very good shape. This is like a pretty common weight, so you can get it real easy. They're both, this is a synthetic extreme temp, and I think this is a blend, right? So this is a little cheaper. It's a good value. Now, that said, okay, when you fill these, and I do this for all my machines now, this will overfill real quick. It holds about a little over, it's 18.6 ounces, so you can go do the conversion wherever the hell you live, if it's in some crazy non-scientific unit, because, in the US, we use scientific units. So, pretty much with all my machines, right? The actual manual recommends between 12 and 13 ounces, because there's usually some left in the machine, and it doesn't hold a lot, so it will overfill real quick. So I'm going to start off, fellas. I'm going to go start off with about 13 ounces. I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to let it settle and go make some coffee and come back and check it. And that way, I should be good to go. Just drop the dipstick into the hole, let it pick up the level of oil, read it, and check it twice if you want. And if you need to add a little bit more, go like an ounce at a time. Very little. This is a paint mixing container. I love these. You get these from Depot or wherever. You can put thinners in it and everything. It's not going to dissolve the plastic. It's meant for paint and chemical prep. Especially painting, right? You use a lot of lacquer thinners and stuff. No, this is made for it. Nice graduated cylinder. So I'm going to go pop that in. And I'm going to see what I'm going to do next. I want to see, what do you guys think? I think that looks kind of cheesy. So I'm going to see if I can fix the black one. I may as well try and fix it. But we'll be back in a minute. The oil that I had in it had a friction modifier. But it feels good, right? And there's a magnet in the bottom of this. Plus these plastic trays, they suck dirt to their sides, electrostatically charged, and then the magnet. So I'll use that for other things, because it's still good. Hey, this is why I say you got to clean them out. The end broke off. It was jammed up. These get really rusty. They get full of junk. They won't move. This one has a nice cord on it, though, so we're going to save the cord. This is a nice one. And we want one like this because mine is, it doesn't have the extended pull cord up on the handle. It uses that short one. And I told you I had a whole bunch, right? There's more in here. And I got to put all this stuff away. And there's more here. Some of these need to be serviced. This one, I believe, is the correct one for me. So I'm going to set that aside and label it along with the gas tank. We'll put that in a bag. And let me finish going through everything. And what I do is you got to lube it. And I like to use a little bit of the chain lube or oil and get it in there and where the spring hook is. See that spring hook there? Right? It's right here where my index finger is, or my pointer finger. And is the light on? No, hold on. Turn a little bit more light on. Drews it in there and pull it through. This one's nice and clean too. Pull it through, get everything lubricated, but that dirt can get stuck in there. And that's why you want to clean it from time to time. It'll break, right? It'll break and you'll have to get a whole new one. Believe me, you don't want to fool with it. If the spring breaks, it's just going to go boing. It's going to piss you off. You can fix the cord easy enough if everything else is working, but yeah, you don't want blammo on spring. What do you think? We'll take a better look at it in a minute. I think that's nice. Not sure I'm happy with where this is because I'd be pulling it with my left arm. I mean, I could learn. This is where the gripper is to put your foot. All right, I got a nice fresh air filter, filter, and I'm going to put the mesh, I think, to the outside. Put that down first. Freshy filter. I cleaned it out, blew it out, blew out the inside and everything. These break, so be careful with these housings. All right, let's get some fuel in it. We're going to load a fuel charge into it, drop this baby down, give it a quick run, and we get it out of here. All right. All right, guys, now before we start it up, I just wanted to mention the whole oil thing. Now, if you remember, look back, the oil I'm using is a darker oil, guys. It's darker. So keep that in mind when you go to check your oil. If it's already starting out darker, that's okay. It's got a different mix of lubricants and nutritional values and vitamins and emollients, right? And it just happens to be darker. Darker is fine, but when you go to check it, don't freak out and be like, oh, it's dirty already. I gotta get rid of it. No, it may be fine, right? Feel it. And, get used to feeling your oil, right? Like, feel your new oil, feel what it feels like, and then, feel old oil, right? What is Arch talking about, right? What is Arch talking about? Feeling stuff. Listen, fellas, okay? Try to keep your mind in the right place. I'm trying to help you guys, all right? So, I say the same thing with these damn zip guns, right? These damn things, Try not to use them all the time. Learn to feel with your hands, right? And your face. Just like get the feeling and the strength and the tactile and the right brain working with the left brain and all of that stuff, right? Because this is a tactile, immersive world, right? It's not gaming. I've done that. That's a fucking waste of time, right? Once in a while, it's fine. Get in here and clean everything up, feel it, put your hands all over it, become intimate with it. Arch, you're doing it again. I don't understand. Listen, fellas, once again, you guys keep going down that road. Touch everything, feel it, sniff it, smell it. Just don't drink it and eat it, right? Don't put it in your mouth or nothing, My friend says that. It looks so good. He's like, I want to put it in my mouth. Don't do that. We're not children, all right? So let's continue, right? See you guys in a minute. Bull jump. Start ignition sequence. Yeah, by the way, hold on, let me just feel this. I'm going to be in your way. Yeah, this works. Yeah, I could do that. I think. I don't know. Uh-oh. Battery again. That's what happens when the battery goes down. So we're going to have to put that battery on a deeper charge. It requires a real charger at some point. But we're going to have to make a battery soon. See, and even though I was turning it around, I didn't have any oil on it. So when I was turning it around a lot, I didn't have, we took the oil out fairly, at the point of when we just started to turn stuff around. And that way it wasn't draining into everything. But with oil in it, it didn't smoke when I started it. So we should be good to go. All right, we're going to give it a little bit more of a charge. Now, I'm just going to do it until these cells get like kind of hot. This is a charger I made. It's made from a car charger, like a big one. I can push 10 amps in. I have it on low right now because you don't want to go any higher than that. The cage is getting a bit beat, but because the battery is somewhat charged. It's just been sitting for so long, and those little wall warts will not put enough power in. So I'm going to do that until I feel the battery is kind of getting hot, you know, and then I'm going to put it away. All right, got to get it out of the garage here. Get it in the shed. It's just not enough room. All right, fellas. Now, because I'm such a damn good mechanic, I put this thing away properly last year. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. It was covered in crap. I shoved it, and like everybody else does, it had basically almost a full tank of fuel. I didn't even turn the knob over there, the fuel valve. I shoved it in, and I was busy doing all kinds of other stuff. But listen, I fill it. In fact, I got to put some more fuel in it. I fill through a paint filter. I got the funnel. Hold on. There's always funnels. Always funnels around here, fellas, with paint filters. And a lot of times I fill, here, look. Let me show you. Right? This machine takes about 1.5 of these mason jars, this size, right? That way I could see the fuel. I don't know. I'm weird, right? I use those a lot because I'm always pulling fuel out of machines and putting a certain test amount of fuel, like 10 ounces or whatever. Just that's my behavior, okay? So I can see what I'm putting in my machines. Now, obviously, a bigger machine, it's another story. I still try to get, even if I do the fuel transfer hose, I still want. If you don't put a filter on somewhere, you're going to wind up in trouble. You're going to get gack in it. It just gets in, especially if it's windy out and you leave this open, right? And I don't know, you get a phone call, somebody calls you, you get distracted, customer comes over, and next thing you know, the wind is blowing and crap falls out of the tree and a bird craps in it, right? Anyway, is the air compressor drain valve, auto drain valve. I'm very happy with this. As you guys know, I love my Hondas. What do you guys think? So we covered over everything. We covered all the simple stuff, and that's all it really needs. Most of your machines, if you keep them, in decent shape, you should just be simple stuff at the end of the year, and a cleaning, right, and a little bit of lubrication. And that's all I tend to do. This gets the oil changed more, and oil is the lifeblood of your engines, but in particular on any of the overhead valve engines, particularly the Honda. And you can't take this motor apart, like you can't pull the head off the way you would do on a Briggs motor. What happens is the valves get gooled up, they don't lubricate as well on these motors, and then the valve guides wear, and you'll notice that if it sits and you go to start it, much the way it did when I first started, from turning it over and everything, and then the other subsequent start and one I did in the garage, it didn't smoke at all. It ran fine. If you start yours on a regular basis and it's puffing smoke, you're burning out your valve guides, and there may be a valve seal that might be broken. So you might want to look into that. Now, the original machine that I had was starting to do that, but I didn't take care of it as well. I was injured. My back was all screwed up. I was struggling to just survive and walk. I had my daughter using the machine. We still tried to use it. I neglected it. Appropriately so. So keep after the oil changes. That's another discussion, all that valve guide talk and everything. What do you guys think of? Do you like the black on black, the black and black top, or do you like the black top with the red pole, or do you just like the original red? Just for shits and giggles, it really doesn't matter. Honda did it different ways, and some people like differences, but I'm just interested to know, what do you guys think? I kind of like it. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think this is angled in the right spot. No matter what you do, it could hit the gas cap and abrade it. I don't know. I'll feel it out. Most of the time, I don't need to use the pull start. So I'm pretty happy with it. Let me get this thing down, get it off the table, get the next job up. I want to thank you guys, of course, for doing everything that you guys do. And for those of you that haven't liked or subscribed or even commented, shame. I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh, just garage.